It's easier to learn and remember Latin vocabulary when we associate each word with an image. This way, we don't always need to translate into modern languages to understand what a Latin word means. For example, if I show you a picture of a river and tell you that, in Latin, it is called fluvius, then you already understand what fluvius means. No translation needed. Throughout this course, we will use this method. The Latin language will speak for itself, with the help of a few illustrations. Here are three common words, each shown with a picture: insula, fluvius, and oppidum. These weren't chosen at random. They'll help us understand some key grammar concepts. Insula, fluvius, and oppidum are nouns. That means they are names of things in the world, and they can act as the subject or object in a sentence. But look closely. Each word ends differently. A, us, That's because each word has a different gender. In Latin, a noun's ending contains important grammatical information, like its gender and whether it's singular or plural. There are three genders in Latin: feminine, masculine, and neuter. Every Latin noun belongs to one of these. It doesn't always follow logic. It's just part of the language you learn. Some helpful patterns. Nouns ending in a are usually feminine. Nouns ending in us are usually masculine. Nouns ending in are usually neuter. Also, the endings change when we move from singular to plural. Insula, insulae. Fluvius, fluvii. Oppidum, oppida. So, there's one set of endings for singular nouns and another for plural nouns. That's why it's a good idea to review the endings chart from time to time, especially before reading texts or doing exercises. It's like a warm-up. One last note. In Latin, it's common to abbreviate both the gender and number of a word. And when you see a dash, it just means word ending. In the Roman Empire, there are only a few large islands: Corsica, Sardinia, Sicilia, Britannia. But there are many small islands, especially in Greece, like Lesbos, Rhodos, and many others. We can now say, Corsica insula magna est. Britannia quoque insula magna est. Can you guess what magna means here? Sometimes it's easier to understand a word by contrast, using its opposite. Lesbos insula parva est. Rhodos quoque insula parva est. How about now? Is it easier to understand what magna and parva mean? Magna and parva are adjectives, words added to nouns to describe or qualify them. Also, there are antonyms, or opposites, which we indicate with a double arrow. The most important thing to remember is a simple rule. Adjectives must agree with the nouns they describe in gender and number, and also in case, but we'll learn that later. In practice, this means the endings must match. In other words, they rhyme. Insula magna. Fluvius magnus. Oppidum magnum. And in plural, insulae magnae. Fluvii magni. Oppida magna. It's the same table of endings we saw earlier. Back to the map. You'll see that there are many rivers in Europe, some small, some large. Tiberis fluvius parvus est. Rhenus et Danubius sunt magni fluvii. In Africa, by contrast, there is only one large river. Nilus magnus fluvius est in Aegypto. We can now say, in Europa multi sunt fluvii. In Africa sunt pauci fluvii. Can you guess what multi and pauci mean? Multi and pauci are adjectives with opposite meanings. They mean many and few, respectively. Because of their meaning, they are always used in the plural, with endings like I, a, depending on the gender of the noun. It's easy to confuse multii, paucii with magnus parvus, since they look a bit similar, but their meanings are different. Multi and pauci refer to number, how many things there are. Magnus and parvus refer to size or mass, how big or small something is. Besides the eternal city, Roma, we see many towns in Italy and in every province of the empire. For example, Brundisium oppidum Rōmānum est. Sparta oppidum Graecum est. Here, Rōmānum and Graecum are adjectives. They match the noun oppidum in gender and number. Now look at this question. Num paestum oppidum Graecum est? Do you know what num means? If you're not sure, keep reading. Paestum non oppidum Graecum, sed oppidum Rōmānum est. Another example. Num Larissa oppidum Rōmānum est. Larissa non oppidum Rōmānum, sed oppidum Graecum est. Now do you see? Num introduces a yes-no question where we expect a negative answer. That's why we often find non in the response. It differs from questions with ne, which express a genuine doubt, where we don't know what answer to expect. The interrogative word ubi introduces a question about place. In the answer, we often find the preposition in. Note that asking a question with ne or num has more to do with the mindset or expectation of the person asking than with the actual answer. You can ask a question with num, expecting the answer to be no, and still, to your surprise, receive a yes.